fare against one another lately doesn't really tell the whole story, because if you look at all competitions, the last 10 meetings, Stellies have won 4, Sundowns have won 5, and there have been some truly intriguing battles over that time as Teboho Mokoena hoists it forward. He won't very fondly remember the Nedbank Cup meeting that they contested in 2023, where he was in a way culpable for both goals that Stellenbosch scored, both through current Stellenbosch man Ikram Reyners to help them overturn a deficit. And it's pretty much since that meeting that they have been quite evenly matched. The one win that Stellenbosch have against Sundowns in the league, coming towards the tail end of the 2021-22 campaign, a home game for Sundowns, which might surprise some, and the fact that the scoreline was 3-0, but they'd already won the title and they were playing at Tuks. So there's an asterisk, in a sense, next to that league victory for Stellenbosch.
That speaks volumes, but just remember, back-to-back victories for Stellies in the MTN Cup against Sundowns will give them some sort of confidence to say that they can get a result here this afternoon.
And essentially played both of those legs away from home, because their home leg came at the Moses Mabhida Stadium.
It does make a difference, because like Darnie Craven, it's a smaller pitch and I think better suited for Stellies. They can apply that high pressure and play with a high intensity for 90 minutes plus.
So Bassadin from the left-hand flank flings it in. Stellenbosch across all competitions this season have 3 goals from long throws. Although in the CAF Champions League it was more a throw that came back to Moloi Sane. Oh, now a little bit shaky, but the ball eventually successfully cleared. Namoriba back to Grant Kekana to see Malibonga Khoza getting a little bit more frequent game time at the moment. When they played Richards Bay 3 games ago, he hadn't started in any of the 8 games prior to that, with Lucas Suarez being preferred. But what a season he has had. His maiden campaign, he's making his 21st start across all competitions, or 22nd today. He's been part of the defensive line, has kept 14 clean sheets in games that he has started. Ninth game this season for both these sides. And Sundowns, who will contest their CAF Champions League final, are set to go well beyond the 50-game mark.
Just chatting to Rob Bernardi on Stellenbosch and his experience in Africa this season. They've still managed to do exceptionally well, still fighting for that 3rd position. Massive adjustment, a lot of backup was needed, and unfortunately Mogella started off bright for Stellies and then got that injury.
That was excellent in the MTN 8, and well, what could have been if he, since joining from TS Galaxy, had a chance to play a full campaign. Stellenbosch are the kind of team and the kind of setup and the way they play that really suits the pace and trickery of a Mogella, and not to mention the fact that the relentless pressure that he applies on defenses as well. Oh no! Oh wow! Well, he gets, I think, the luckiest possible bounce off the upright. It almost happened in slow motion, the ball going past Oscarino. Seemed to take an age to turn.
We'll see Ndulia. A bit of a heavy pass there. Oscarino possibly not expecting that ball.
Yeah.
And it probably an indirect free kick, because it'll go down as a back pass.
Yes.
So Ndulia attempted to play away from the goals. Oscarino just moving forward, fortunately saving it from not going in the goal. But now they have some work to be done.
did you like to do, or teams you played for like to do from these situations, which are very rare, because so I don't necessarily think it's something you're trained this scenario all too often, because it happens so infrequently.
Yeah, not at all. So as much as it looks like it's very close to the goal, it's very difficult to score from these angles, because you don't have your full 10 yards. And there's so many bodies. The minute they touch it, they're going to come storming in. So as much as it's very close to the goal, it's not an easy chance for Sundowns here.
Trying also to disguise the touch so that the players on the line can't react that quickly, and you would imagine you have to show a lot of courage as well, standing there. You could potentially concede a goal by trying to shy away from the ball. Interesting scenario. Let's see how it shapes up here. Oh, brilliantly. Well, they gave the responsibility to Lucas Ribeiro, who puts to an end his goal drought in fairly peculiar circumstances, but finally he has another to extend his lead at the top of the Betway Premiership Golden Boot standings. So 2 goals, he's on 14 now.
Emphatically dispatched there, Lucas Ribeiro. Had to go high. Great communication, great synchronization, great decision here from Sundowns. Just a little touch there, and in the roof of the net, Ribeiro with that powerful shot that Stellenbosch defenders could do very little about.
Yeah, hadn't scored for well over 2 months, Lucas Ribeiro, since a 1-1 draw away to Le Mans Golden Arrows. 5 league games without a goal, 11 in all competitions. But that was expertly struck. Now, sometimes, obviously, in a situation like that, the indirect free kick may be set a little further back, because whatever incident it is has to be taken where it occurred, except in a situation where it happens inside the 6-yard box. And you often see teams setting the ball across for a player to strike. In this scenario, he needed to bang it into the roof of the net. They set it back for him.
Had to be high, and that is exactly what Ribeiro done. No chance for that man, Oscar Lucan.
Now Sanes fires it across the box, turned behind by Ismail Torre.
Yeah, just a restart here from Stellenbosch. High press from Sundowns, causing all sorts of problems and taking advantage of that lapse in communication. As we see Sales with the attempted cross, and Torre safety first.
In from Mokoena, Sales, a little flick of the head. Fairly decent attempt, but wide of the mark nonetheless.
Looking for his 6th of the season there. Sales got first of the ball at the near post. Yeah, it looks like he's operating off the right-hand side there, or mostly through the center, just in behind Reyners, and Ribeiro's the one on the right, and Matthews now with the header on the left-hand side.
Loisane rises to nod that away. An academy player for Mamelodi Sundowns, who went to the first division, Cape Town All-Stars, ended up at Maritzburg United, joined Stellenbosch beginning of last season. Widely regarded as one of the most informed defenders over the course of this campaign in South Africa.
Yeah, he's been solid in defence. Alongside Ismail Torre and his injury problems, it looks to have shaken that off.
Koza alongside Musa Lebusa out through suspension today, up against Chippa United. The 2 of them virtually flawless, especially in terms of their passing. But you do wonder today, despite the fact that both Malibonga Koza and Grant Kekana are excellent passers and in the top 3 for Sundowns in terms of their best passing players this season, will they be able to string together as many and combine as often, since Stellenbosch have a little bit more of a propensity to press from the front when they get a chance to.
Yeah, it will be a bit more difficult because Lebusa's left-footed, and that makes it so much more simpler. But having said that, defensively, Kukana more than capable of slotting in that left-hand side of defense for Sundowns.
There's Jaden Adams, former Stellies man. As you pointed out in the build-up, but just to reiterate for anyone who missed it, not a frequent scorer for Stellenbosch. Would chip in every now and again, but would also often go very long periods without contributing a goal, at least scoring a goal. And at Mamelodi Sundowns, in the space of under 6 months, has half already of his entire tally over the course of his Stellenbosch career.
Yeah, I think the role that he's playing for Sundowns allows him to get a bit more forward into the box, because you'll have more possession of the ball. You'll have the protection of whoever's playing alongside him today, that is Mokoena.
Ball in behind from Teboho Mokoena, just runs away from Ikram Reyners and Arthur Salles. Reyners has scored in the last 3 Betway Prem games that he's played in succession. And in fact, with his goal against Chippa United, 21 goal contributions in the league this campaign, which is the most currently. He's 2 behind Ribeiro for goals. He's 2 behind Keleto Makhalwa for assists, but overall he has the most goal contributions. Matthews does well. Aubrey Modiba tries to play the first time pass. Sitle Nduli will get rid of it. How difficult is it to shake off a moment? I'll get back to that as Ikram Reyners finds Ribeiro. Look at that disguised pass. That is gorgeous. Wow. Well, Ikram Reyners trying to keep pace with the man who set him up here. They have combined superbly to put Sundowns 2 in front.
Ribeiro is cruising as he sets up that man, Ikram Reyners, as they compete neck and neck with the amount of goals scored in the Betway Premiership. 13th for Reyners. Brilliant one to there, but counter press really working for Sundowns. Once again, a little bit sloppy and misplaced pass. It's Reyners that sets it up initially. A brilliant run, continues the run, and a no-look pass from Ribeiro. Well-weighted pass into the path of Reyners, and makes no mistake to get his second in 12 minutes for Sundowns.
Kiba appeared to play that pass infield completely blind, given away to Ribeiro. Stellenbosch looking for a response. And Tata Kiba, had he connected with that, would have been offside. Last season, Ikram Reyners with 15 league goals for Stellenbosch. Number 5 came against Bulawani City, but he's definitely on course to match, if not surpass, that tally, which is currently his best in the top flight. His best ever league tally came in that promotion-winning season for Stellenbosch, 2018-19.
Yeah, he'll be worried.
Shell-shocked, he
bad
looks.
Start, very bad start. I think it's not self-inflicted, it's the pressure that Sundowns have forced upon that defense, forced them into mistakes.
Well, you have a scenario where this is effectively their game in hand over Skakune. Babina Nuku have Kaizer Chiefs and Le Montfort Golden Arrows in their final 2 games. And Stellenbosch will be facing Supersport United and Cape Town City. So, we talk about desperation from their upcoming opponents. It might add to those games.
Yeah, for both Stellies as well as Sekhukhune up against the current Cup champs, Chiefs, as Arrow's also not clear of a dangerous playoff spot. So
yeah,
both teams not much easy encounters left.
And that, brilliant from Mokoena. I will say that is what makes, in my opinion, the battle for third place currently the most intriguing elements of the Betway Premiership. And unless they're able to claw something back here, it will be Sekhukhune with the slight advantage going into those two games. They would still have their 1-point lead that they currently hold intact. And of course, Stellenbosch have pulled off the improbable plenty of times previously, and they've done it away to Gauteng sides, a famous 3-2 victory over Orlando Pirates about a year and a half ago now. But Sundowns very, very seldomly let a lead slip. Now it's Basadine now over the top, can't connect with Lekolwane. Maybe to add some context to what I've just mentioned, Stigger, Sundowns have avoided defeat in the last 72 league games in which they have taken the lead.
So you're basically saying no chance for Stellies to come back.
And also the last time they did was just from one goal down. Maritzburg United won 2-1, and that was over 3 years ago. I'm not saying there's no chance, certainly, but it looks highly improbable now, even at this early stage.
And total control there, I did mention earlier. Solid performance against Chippa United. That's not easy to overcome. They're very patient and control the encounter, and seem to be doing the same here this afternoon.
Chippa United are their upcoming opponents. They'll be playing Buffalo City this coming Wednesday. Orlando Pirates actually will be playing the same league opponent as they faced last week, hosting Orlando Pirates. Now Salez, chance to hit it. Oh! Well, it is a bobbling effort that has bamboozled Oscarine Masaluke, and Artur Salez joins the party.
Yeah, this could get ugly. So rampant Sundowns early on. Just a quarter of an hour gone. They take the lead by 3-0 against Stellies. And it's 3 of the 4 front attackers that has got a goal this afternoon. 1 for Reyners, 1 for Ribeiro, and now Sellers in among the mix. It was a ball that fell to Sellers with a weaker foot, had a pop, a bit of a deflection. It must be noted. 1 touch to control, the 2nd to shoot, and it's off Moloisani as Sundowns get their 3rd.
Well, it's hit into the ground, which is awkward enough to begin with, and then takes this deflection off Moloisani. So the original shot was hitting on target, but with some major assistance from an opponent as things almost got worse. And Sundowns are 3 up inside a quarter hour. Looking for more. Reyners, Ribeiro just can't dink it over Masaluke.
Brilliant touch from Reyners. Thought about the 2nd. Brilliant goalkeeping from Masaluke. Jittery defense here for Stellenbosch.
There's Modiba. Modao.
Before long we can see Stevie Barker start pacing and start chatting to his charges to wake up.
The last time Stellenbosch conceded 3 goals was against Mamelodi Sundowns towards the beginning of the previous campaign. A game in which Devon Titus had actually given Sundowns the lead, who hit back that time around with a couple of defenders, Kekana and Modiba. The currently injured Mabena was the man who added the third, but that was in the 90th minute in a game where they didn't get off the mark until the 34th minute. Now we're nowhere near the 34th minute. They already have a 3-goal advantage. Well, came into this game with a fair amount of optimism, did Steve Barker, especially considering that he was able to field an unchanged side with a nice week-long break from that 3-0 demolition away to Le Montfort Golden Arrows, but it's all unraveled fairly quickly this afternoon.
I would say self-inflicted, as I alluded to earlier, is that that press from Sundowns just getting the better of Stellies, and then the quality of the finishers, Beiro, Reyners, as well as Sales.
But what makes it even more impressive from a Sundowns perspective is that it took them a quarter hour to score 3 goals against the Stellenbosch side, who had kept clean sheets in their last 3 league matches.
Yeah, that's the quality of that front four.
Whew. Cut out by Toure.
Now they have 60 goals to their credit for the season, that is.
Remarkable to think that against Chippa United they broke the all-time PSL goal scoring record by moving to 57. It's their own record that they broke, in fact, as we just take a look at what is ailing Modiba at the moment. But that goal tally, 56 from the 2021-22 season. They eclipsed their own mark, having in 2021-22 again broken their own record from 2015-16, which was 55 goals. As you mentioned, they're now on 60, setting a new benchmark that looks like it'll be very, very difficult to break. What's remarkable is that they got 2 goals against Royal AM. They would have had another opportunity against an ailing Royal AM to potentially add some more. But they've still broken the record, even without the full complement of 30 games.
Not sure if this is an opportunity just to get his charges together, Stevie, and have a word. Yeah. Stellies need to get hold of that midfield, and that's where the dominance is. Maybe playing a little bit too close to the defence, allowing Sundowns to switch from flank to flank.
Lucas Ribeiro capitalising on that Stellenbosch error right at the beginning of the match. Absolutely slammed that into virtually the roof of the net.
Yeah, the weight of the pass is, just look at the press. It's forcing Titus to go back. A bit of hesitation there. Tashreeq Matthews applies the pressure, which in given away to Reyners, and it's Reyners at the end of that one. Let's look at the third one. Saleh just picking up a dropped one, just in behind the striker there. And celebration to match the performance early on.
Well, the biggest margin of defeat that Stellenbosch have ever suffered was right at the beginning of their top flight journey in the 2019-20 season. They were thrashed 4-0 by Kaizer Chiefs. They suffered a couple of 3-0 defeats to both Stellenbosch and to Orlando Pirates, and in January of 2023 the last time they suffered a margin of defeat of 3-0. Oh well, now how does the referee see this, just in terms of, was there cover? He's already got the yellow out, but some especially in the Winelands, would have been trying to make a case for a red.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit far from goal there. Titus's speed, just seen him touch the ball ahead of, I think it's Kukana.
Yeah, I think if you're applying the dog soak principle, then perhaps the mitigating factor here is distance to goal. I don't think that the cover was quite close enough, although Aubrey Modiba may have been able to cut him off. Yeah. But I think it's only distance here that has saved Grant Kukana. Some of the more famous comebacks from Stellenbosch in the Premiership, like from 3-0 down. Not too sure about that. Of course, I've already alluded to 2023 December 3-2 win over Orlando Pirates. There's a 3-2 win over Cape Town City in it was January of last year, where they were 2 down. They hit back just before the half-time break, which was crucial in that one, believing that they could come back into it. So another Basadine long throw. Dennis Onyanga out to claim it.
And that's his experience coming through. Understands that he has the advantage. Eliminate the danger of the high ball.
Obviously Sundowns such a meticulous team with all the analysts that they have available to them, so they would not have been unaware of Stellenbosch's prowess from these particular type of set pieces, I guess. And it's very likely that they had identified that the long throws always seem to go to the Kiwi in picture, because he's the man with the best ability to flick it on. It was almost like he just made a beeline for De Jong, knowing that's where it would probably end up.
De Jong as well as Torre. This is where you'll see the experience of Sundowns. They've taken the lead comfortably in control, so they don't rush and look for the fourth goal. And then just retain the possession, frustrate their opponents, keep the width about the field. Before long, start to find the spaces in the defense, as we can see. Just straying offside there.
It was very tight, and Ekorani was quick to indicate to the assistant that he had looked across the line and didn't believe he was offside. As Onyanga scrapes it away, not particularly accurate from him. Tato Kiba had to wait too long for Nduli to provide that option. Palace keeps it in. Kiba now. Possession relinquished to Jaden Adams. Mudau. There's Reyners on his arm side. Mokoena. Salez. Kukana now.
That partnership in midfield between Jaden Adams and Mokoena has very quickly solidified, understanding each other's movements, who drops deep and starts the play. You can see Adams coming short now, and you'll see Mokoena move a little bit further forward, and vice versa as they in their build-up phase.
Ribeiro. Salez. Still he continues on. Modiba providing the option. Salez. Matthews can't control. Mamelodi Sundowns have hit 30 first half goals this season. Stellenbosch actually not particularly bad in that regard as well. Only TS Galaxy and Sundowns have more first half goals than they have, 16 in total. Libero. Koza. Modiba. Pass too strong.
So frustrating for midfielders. You can see Kiba trying to do something. Titus chasing down, but it's isolated pressure. And Sundowns easily navigate through that.
Stellenbosch, considering the good season they have had, have not been behind as often as in seasons past, but have gained only 5 points from losing positions this campaign. Actually lost a lot from winning positions, 11 in total. So with that in mind, it doesn't look too good for them in terms of coming back to get something here, especially when you consider the fact that Mamelodi Sundowns are yet to drop a point from a winning position this season.
Yeah, you can see total dominance there, but still is just not finding the outlet. Remember, they've travelled from Cape Town up to the Highveld, so energies will be vastly dissipating, and when you are without the ball, you work so much harder.
Yeah.
So it won't get much easier for them.
Nickelrun is in behind this time, but way out wide on the left. Devin Titus. Titus! Tight angle, side netting. Well, Devin Titus scored his 7th last weekend to match the previous season's tally.
Great opportunity there for Titus. A very close call. You could see Kekana looking over to see if the offside flag has been raised, but nothing, as Titus misses that first opportunity for Stellies.
It's actually become now the 4th Stellenbosch player since their top flight arrival in 2019 to register 10 or more goal involvements in a single season. Ikram Reyners did it last campaign, 17 goal contributions. Junior Mendieta, 17 the season before that, and Ashley Duprier in 2021-22 with 11 goal contributions. So he's in some fairly esteemed company. Chanez misplaces his pass for Matthews.
They're just not on the same wavelength there. Matthews wanted it in behind the defence. Sales trying to pick him out to feet. He certainly fought his way into the starting lineup, has Arthur Sales.
So Masaluke, a punt forward. You noticed something interesting about Masaluke's stats this season, Stanton, but he will not be able to add to what has been a fairly impressive clean sheet tally in the league.
Yeah, today's messed it up a bit. So he started 6 matches and 5 clean sheets.
Yeah.
And that is quickly changed after this afternoon.
Nicolani again offside.
Yeah, but he's always been solid when called upon. Sage Stevens playing the bulk of the matches for Stellies. And the capable replacement is Masaluke. So we see another offside here.
Most games in a row that Masaluke has started for a long time. This is 6th in succession across all competitions. Sage Stevens, obviously, the number 1, but out with a bit of a calf problem at the moment. It has been for a little while. Disappointing for Stevens, I think, to get to such an advanced stage of the CAF Confederation Cup and to have had such a big hand in it, and then to have to skip those last couple of matches. Basadine, De Jong, nice pass for Devin Titus, and he managed to zip it through the legs of Modiba, but well off targets.
Yeah, he's starting to knock. Here's Devin Titus. Well, after the match against Chippa, I had the opportunity to chat to Onyango on screen, that is. And just asking him how he manages at this age, whenever been called upon, looked like he's not ring rust, comes up with the goods confidently. And he mentioned the camaraderie and the togetherness of the goalkeeping department, alongside Williams, alongside Jody February. And it's a position that Sundowns has always had a lot of depth and quality.
It's a good first touch. He set himself well for the shots. Dennis Onyango, excellently positioned.
Yeah, that's a bit better from Stellies. Kolani with the opportunity coming off the left-hand side. That's much better from Stellenbosch, something we've come to expect very quickly with 3 attempts, 1 on target.
Stellenbosch again. Janino Palace laying it off for Fawaz Basadine. Basadine cleverly got away from 2 players there.
Yeah, there's not many that come past this man, Kulisa Mudau. Basadine done excellent to weave his magic. Just couldn't get past Mudau, intelligently getting the body in between the ball and the player.
Many agree he is one of the best at defending one-on-one situations. Kulisa Mudau. Saleh now receiving from Ikram Reyners. Going to Adams. This is often the case. Mamelodi Sundowns dominating the possession. 72% in total. And this is a Stellenbosch team who come into this game fairly good form. Won their last 3 in a row in the league. Haven't tasted defeat since March, where the magic of Magesi and their stadium in Sishego got the job done. Tashuk Matthews. Mukwena. Matthews somehow rises the challenge and keeps going.
Can't find the outlet. They rotate and retain. And you see that 70% possession here from Sundowns. Not scared to go back to the goalkeeper. Get your starting position, get the width about the pitch. It's easier to retain possession when you have width.
Titus quickly to Kiba and then Palace. Saleh is having initially made the mistake, works hard to recover the ball. They've scored now 11 Betway Premiership games running. It's their longest scoring streak of the season. And it's 27 goals in that 11-game scoring streak.
Impeccable.
Interestingly, at a game where the floodgates were open early, we are into the period where traditionally over the course of the season, Sundowns have been most potent. From the half-hour mark to the whistle for the half-time break, they scored 12 goals over that period, which is, as you can imagine, the most in the league. And here they are with a promising move. Ikram Reyners, what a return pass. And it's in the back of the net, but the flag had been raised.
That was some quality football. Without bombing down the right-hand side. Brilliant 1-2 with Ribeiro, but it doesn't stand. If it did, I would have shook your hand here, Grant, because you were mentioning they are very potent in this time. As you can see, 12 goals in that, 30 minutes to 45. Still have a couple of minutes to prove you right.
Mininaya. Palace. It's hurried into that pass.
We'll have a chance to see how close that call was. Here's Mudau bombing. He'll slow down a bit. Brilliant stuff, and Mudau a little bit too quick for his own good.
Yeah.
Good call there from the assistant linesman.
Adams quickly releases Ikram Reyners. Moloisane in pursuit. Reyners gets it back. Ibero now. Kiba reads it. Mekolwane.
See, totally outnumbered. And assistants coming very slow for Stellies.
How deflating is it to have gone 3 goals down so quickly, and does that impact maybe the efforts that that players will put into certain areas of the game?
It certainly does. But a goal will certainly put the wind in their sails.
Rather nasty challenge, that one. So actually a very similar challenge.
A little bit dangerous there on the ex-Stellies player. From our right back, Godswill, Ininyanya.
To Kikana. Matthews straight out. So will Thabo Moloisane be coming over to take this? Nyanaya actually does have a decent long throw himself. He has taken some from the right hand side.
Let's see if Onyango's going to come bombing out to his goal again, as we see De Jong the target.
Decent from Moloisane. Nanduli. Gobrush. Norman Kalele. Watching on, of course, plenty of players on the park right now that he has included in his Bafana squad previously. Virtually all of the South African players on the Mamelodi Sundowns side, and for Stellenbosch, Thabo Moloisane fairly recently, Fawaz Basadine, even Sage Stevens made the cut in this past year. Tatu Kiba into the book.
So Basadine keeping a close eye on the danger man Ribeiro. That second time, Kiba just clipping in from behind.
Did Kiba not make the foul earlier, just about a minute ago, just outside the Sundowns box?
That's right.
I was saying in the moment that that foul, though it wasn't nearly as bad, it reminds me of something from their very first meeting, which was back in December of 2019. A game in which Sundowns won 3-1, but they had to come from behind. Ryan Moon opened for Stellenbosch, but over the course of that game, it was an equalizer from Tim Bazwane, although a slightly contentious penalty. Spilelem Kulise scored his first ever top flight goal to give them the lead, and then Keletso Makhalwa, his first ever top flight goal for Sundowns in the closing stages. But it was a game in which Mohamed Tuhuda was actually sent off for a 2-footed lunge on Rivaldo Kutsia. Toure. Toure finds himself advancing up the pitch. De Jong slipped in behind here for Devin Titus. Looking promising, but Sundowns defending stoutly. They will get a free kick though. Kolisa Modao, foul here on Titus. Yeah, no issues with that. 2 Sundowns players now into the book, 2 defenders. Kekana, Kolisa Modao, both were booked for fouls on Devin Titus.
It's getting frustrated, isn't it?
Well, to feel as though they have any hope, surely they would need to pull one back before the break. And that effort from Lekolwane is very disappointing.
They're looking for something just before the half-time. It'll become very, very important if they to come back in this game. Rosa still barking instruction.
Yeah, it's been a long journey here, only to suffer this kind of start. A kind of start that is almost always impossible to recover from. Kekana. Matthews, there's Tatakiba, who is on a yellow card, replaced here by Tumani Putsaka. And then Devin Titus has not been as effective as he usually is, so the man who will celebrate his 21st birthday next weekend makes way for the former Sundowns man, Lesibenku, who has previously scored in this tie, although as a Mamelodi Sundowns player. That was towards the tail end of last season. Lesibenku's second half goal was the solitary goal in that game as Sundowns won away from home. There's several players actually, or a few, who have scored for both teams, most notably being Ikram Reyners, who now has 5 goals in this fixture, all-time top scorer in this fixture, along with Peter Shalulile, who of course got all 5 for Mamelodi Sundowns. Ikram Reyners now with 5 as well, 2 for Sundowns and 3 against Sundowns during his time with Stellenbosch. Modiba, crossfield here for Modao. Got things started. Koza. Kekana, Adams. Trying to get it in behind for Ikram Reyners. Artur Sales quickly on to Tatakiba. Masaluke saw the ball go past him early in this match. Stellenbosch had been on a run of about 330 minutes without conceding.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Solid in defence is Stellenbosch, but this afternoon that is not the story. As we see, Sales being fouled here by Njuli. It's the hand in the face.
Nduli, the latest recipient now of a yellow card. Man, I'm sure, unless he can come up with some heroics in this game, will not look particularly fondly back at this outing. A mistake that led to the first Sundowns goal, attributable to Nduli. Played a rather wayward back pass. Salez giving Inaya a hard time, but the ball now with Mamelodi Sundowns. Sibanku relinquishes possession. To De Jong. Oh, not the best decision there from Nduli. Perhaps Ismail Toure is such a big figure that he couldn't see Ikram Reina stuck to his shoulder.
Yeah, just not aware of his surroundings there, Nduli. Saying no communication. Nobody told me there's a man behind me, but you gotta scan at every moment in that position. And this is the department that is controlling the game, the midfield of Sundowns, where Jaden Adams and Tebogo Mokoena are just pulling the strings, controlling the tempo of the game.
Mamelodi Sundowns in today's game and the 3 league games prior have managed 11 goals without conceding. Last goal they conceded in the league coming in mid-March, in fact almost 2 months ago, in the 2-1 loss to Orlando Pirates. It briefly gave the Buccaneers fans a little bit of hope that they could still contest for the title. Even the most die-hard Pirates fan at this point has, I'm sure, has resigned themselves to yet another second-place finish.
I think hope would have been alive if this encounter against Stellenbosch was possibly a draw, or Stelly stole something from it, but so far looks like it's a runaway, literally and figuratively.
Well, as you say that, it does run away from Lekoranu. Did his best to try and keep it in. Sundowns today have faced just 1 shot on target. That makes it 65 shots on target faced over the course of the entire season. Only Orlando Pirates with 64 shots faced have faced fewer. Devils have played fewer games.
Just Mudiba nudging, substituting Ku.
Thought Fawaz Basadine steps up to it. The intention could have been to get that to zip off a recently watered surface just in front of Onyango, but I guess down to catch it as it bounces.
Yeah, done well to get it up and over the wall. That is not the easy catch, might look easy, but ever assured Onyango makes it look easy.
Adams, forward for Modal. This time the recently watered turf not in Sundowns' favour.
Yeah, as you mentioned, half-time the sprinklers open up. And what it does is it keeps the tempo of the game quicker because passes move a little bit quicker. Just skid off the area.
Sundowns in the first half scored from 4 shots they had on target. Scored 3 from 4 shots they had on target. Only 5 shots in total. So been very accurate. Some put absolutely no credence in it. Others really like it as a statistic. That's XG, expected goals. Sundowns expected goals for the first half under 1, 0.9. It speaks to the difficulty of some of the strikes they managed.
Yeah, that's right. As we see, Kolwane is putting in the work, trying to win back possession for Stellis to get something from this encounter. It looks like he's in a bit of a discomfort there, Nicolani.
Looks as though he'll be able to continue here. Remarkably, Sundowns have not managed a shot since about the 20th minute. And I guess when you're already up by such a significant margin.
And that's what they do. They remain patient. They tease their opponents, not needing to go for the fourth immediately and try and draw them out. You can see Stellis stuck in that mud block.
Sundowns this season in the league have only conceded 4 goals in the second half of games, so they're really able to shut out teams after the break. And of those 4 goals they've conceded in the second half, a couple of them have been fairly late on, and they've been consolation goals for the opponents.
That's a lapse in concentration.
Yeah. Matthews dispossessed. Mamelodi Sane. Keeping up the trend today of games between Sundowns and Stellenbosch ending with at least 1 goal. Never been a goalless draw between these two sides. Even in their cup meetings, there's always been goals. Oh, Mokoena almost finds Ikram Rangers at the back heel.
You can see as they enter the final third, that is Sundowns, that's when they just change the pace of the attack.
Koza, Onyango. Kekana, Mokoena. Koza to Kekana. And the immediate pressure from Lesibanku. Bit of a hack forward from Onyango, but Tabo Mokoena helps it forward, and then Salez out nicely to Modiba. Ikram Rangers finding Matthews. Mokoena.
Almost miscued there, trying to pick out Mudau.
There's Koza, 97% pass accuracy from 67 passes attempted so far. He's only misplaced 2.
We'll take nothing away from that stat, but when there's no pressure on you,
Yeah, that's true.
Easy
That's
to not
true.
give it away.
That's why he and Granke kind of far and away have had the most touches of this game so far.
That's an opportunity for Sundowns to give some players in need of some minutes, the likes of Tembazwani. Rena comes on regularly. Maseko came on in the last game, got a goal.
Yeah,
To welcome himself back.
the iconic 57th record-breaking goal. Haven't lost against the Western Cape side this season. It's Stellenbosch by 1-0 earlier in this campaign. Ikram Reyners on the score sheet. Of course, beat Cape Town City home and away. Stellenbosch, though, their record against Gauteng sides this season has not been particularly good. Victory away from home, again beating Orlando Pirates at the Orlando Stadium. A very impressive feat, considering that Western Cape sides hadn't managed to do that for about a decade and a half prior to them winning in December of 2023. But their record this year against Gauteng sides, they've played 6. They've won just that game against Orlando Pirates, 2 draws and 3 defeats, and heading for another today.
Nicolwani trying to do what no other player has done. Then Mudau gives you the line, you push it and try and beat him for pace. It's not going to happen today, son.
Flag is promptly raised against Ikram Reyners.
You can see Torre just holding his line and allowing Reyners to be caught offside.
Mamelodi Sundowns seemingly cruising to victory here with just half an hour remaining at the Lucas Maripe Stadium. 2 subs made at the halftime break for Stellenbosch, and another pair will be introduced here. Idram Jabbar and Sanele Barnes. Steve Barker continuing with the trend of withdrawing the carded players, so Sihlinduli comes off alongside Lekolwane. This would hint to me that Andre de Jong will very much be occupying a central position here with Nku and Barnes alongside him. Basiba Nku, who scored against Lamontville Golden Arrows 8 minutes after being introduced.
I think a spot on there. Sanele Barnes to the wing, de Jong, the central position. Jabbar, it's like for like, similar position to Nduli.
Ribeiro into space. Salles, Adams. It's Jaden Adams again. Now Matthews. Mamelodi Sundowns with an unblemished record at home this season in the league. Played 12, won 12, heading for another victory as Matthews digs out a cross unsuccessfully. Last home defeat for Sundowns, bitterly disappointing one at the end of last season. 1-0, going down 1-0 to Cape Town City. And that is their only loss in their last 41 home games in the league. Also looking to hit double figures in terms of clean sheets at home. They're currently on 9, and they have managed 4 clean sheets in a row on their own patch in the league coming into this one. Sanele Barnes intercepts from Malemo Koza. Jabbar takes over. Andre de Jong. Barnes. There's de Jong.
Well, that's more encouraging from Stellenbosch. Substitute to inject a bit of energy there, especially Sanele Barnes.
The introduction of Barnes means that they have a very proficient right-footed set-piece taker now on the field. But it is Basadin with the outswinger to the little setup. Nothing comes of it. Kulise, whose first ever top flight goal came against Stellenbosch back in 2019. Well, he had scored a few for Black Leopards and Richards Bay in the first division prior to that. And Tembazwane looking to come on and influence this game. Take Sundowns further into the lead. Barnes. Onyango gets there, ahead of de Jong, but it's slightly worrying. Sanele Barnes, Dennis Onyango, who was just inside his area, makes the claim.
It's the evergreen Onyango to the rescue. Brilliant ball played in from Sanele Barnes. He got a touch there, de Jong, as did Onyango with the second attempt and the third one in his area. An opportunity for Barnes to get one back for Stellies.
Back to Dennis Onyango. Mamelodi Sundowns heading towards that 500 pass mark once again. They come into this game with 13 of the 16 best passing performances in the Betway Premiership belong to Mamelodi Sundowns this season. Let's confirm the subs for you with Teboho Mokoena making way here for Tembazwane and Tashreeq Matthews departing with Spilele Mkhulise coming on for him. Captain's armband had been retrieved from Dennis Onyango by the departing Tashreeq Matthews and given to Tembazwane, who makes a 440th career club appearance today.
A job well done. Once again from Mokoena. Matthews, a decent outing. Not among the goal scorers though, as we see Nyanga just give it a bit of a stretch with his last escapades. 3 stops. Just look at that distribution, 80% accuracy.
Yeah. He's attempted 43 passes today as Dennis Onyango.
Coach just asking what you're waiting for. You see your players going down, you've got to immediately get up off the bench and start warming.
Well, let's give you a quick reminder of the goals. This one came in the 6th minute. Lucas Ribeiro after a back pass that hit the post from Sitley Nduli, claimed by Oscarine Masaluke, indirect free kick, and this interplay was just sublime. Lucas Ribeiro, having scored, breaking a 11-game goal drought, sets up Ikram Reyners, and then Artur Salles via a deflection adds the 3rd. Do you have a pick out of those 3?
Yeah, it has to be the second one.
Yeah.
The disguised pass from Ribeiro and the excellent finish from Reyners. As we see Caballero in full voice.
Now the fans in great spirits. Their side cannot confirm the title today, but it could be Tuesday if Orlando Pirates fail to claim the full haul of points against the Montville Golden Arrows. But in all likelihood, Wednesday, if they get anything from the Chippa United game, all they would need is a draw. It might be a fairly tough match out at Buffalo City, who weren't scheduled to get another game, but because this one was moved forward, Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium not available. I think Buffalo City games have been some of the treats of the season.
Yeah, and Chippa United also still fighting for that top 8 position, so they want to rectify their last outing at Loftus, where they got the better end of a 3-0 drubbing.
They're winless now in quite some time, 5 games I think. A bit of a rough patch for them, and tenuous top 8 position, just considering all the teams, some of whom have more games in hand. Right behind them, chief among them, the Chiefs. De Jong gets the flick on that. Behind for a corner. Mamelodi Sundowns are the only team in the Betway Premiership this season who have not conceded from a corner. So,
oh wow. There was a similar stat for Orlando Pirates until they conceded to Skukune with that 1-0 loss.
Yeah, 100%,
Yamba with the goal.
Also, interestingly, Golden Arrows until very recently. Ribeiro away, behind, another corner. And again from Basadine. Salles with some good defensive work. Collected by Lesibunku. Defended by Artur Salles, and he allows his side to get on the move, playing a nice little composed pass out from the back. Andre de Jong has it now for Stellenbosch. Basadine helps it along. Sanele Barnes wins a corner.
He's been trying since his introduction, Sanele Barnes. It's a corner for his side.
After this corner, which presumably, based on the season as a whole, will be successfully defended by Sundowns, I'll let you in on a few very interesting stats, records that remain there for the taking from a Mamelodi Sundowns perspective. As the coup gets in across, repelled by Malabo Khoza. There's Malloy Sane. Before he is allowed to get that long throw in, it's a change for Mamelodi Sundowns. Introducing here Terence Mashiko.
Chance for Mashiko to stretch his legs. Remember, Divine Lunga picking up that injury. Came at a bad time for Lunga.
Yeah, which is why they've retained Terence Mashiko. Originally they were going to allow to play the Chan qualifiers, and after Divine Lunga's injury had to have a replacement left back available to them. Ninaya, nicely done by the Nigerian. Basadine to Toure. We have a ball from Toure for De Jong, who's offside.
Yeah, I think Toure kind of knew that he was offside when he played it to him, hoping that he would have checked his lines there. There is Andre De Jong. So waiting for the options and see how quickly Sundowns the defense push up outside of the box.
So as promised, Stanton, some interesting numbers for you. Goal difference currently for Mamelodi Sundowns plus 47. It's absolutely unheard of. And unless they are clobbered in their next few matches, they are very much on course to break the record for goal difference in the PSL era, which currently stands at plus 41 from last season. Also, they have a chance as they get forward once again to set a new record for wins in a single season. They're currently on 21, going to move to 22 today, which will match the current record set last season, which just matched 2015-16. So they will go level with that, and then they have 2 games left to get just 1 win, which will make them the side with the most wins in a single 30-game season. They got 23 back in the late 90s, a 34-game season. So they could even break, or equal. Yeah, they can break a record that was set in a season that had 4 more games available in a season they've played with 2 fewer games. Yeah, just think about that.
Wow, all about the records.
Yeah.
Remember last season, almost, if it wasn't for that Cape Town City loss, would have won the league without a defeat.
And just one more for you. They can, if they win all available points to them, go to 73 points, matching the record from last season. But because they played 2 games fewer, what it would give them is the most points per game in a single PSL season.
Wow.
Forward by Masaluke. Only De Jong chasing. He runs all the way through to Dennis Onyango.
It has to be said that since Miguel Cardoso has joined, it's been a seamless transition from last season's performance. Yes, we had Mangoba Ngiki in charge. A solid performance from the side, except that cup final defeat. Yeah. And then they haven't missed a beat since all those changes has Sundowns. Still with the opportunity to get that coveted second star, and a matter of days until they wrap up for the Betway Premiership.
Speaking of wrapping up a league, Durban City on their way to the top flight, although it's looking it's a little anxious in the closing stages. Lidoda Duba Black Leopards have pulled one back. It's currently 3-2. But a draw will still be a fairly decent result, even if Black Leopards get another. It will still give them an opportunity on the final day to wrap things up. Barnes again, all the way through to the keeper. Worked up to Mudau.
Better showing there in terms of possession for Stellies in the second half.
Last we're hearing from Loftus, 1-1 at half-time. South Africa's chance side against Malawi, but they're trying to recover from a 1-0 deficit in the first leg, which means the fact that Malawi have a goal here is fairly damaging for their chances. Basadine has done it already this season, early in the campaign, in that 3-0 win at Athlone against Cape Town City, but Dennis Onyango.
He smiles at it.
He smiles, yeah.
A brilliant effort though.
There's Artur Sales. Another excellent display from him. Man of the match in a 3-0 win against Richards Bay at the end of last month. He was very appreciative too to see his efforts being acknowledged after what was a fairly tough start in South Africa.
Yeah, and tough competition there as well. Someone that has been on the fringes, but always getting a look in is Mkhulisi, now in possession. I think since the arrival of that man, Jaden Adams, he's been playing second fiddle. But still very useful for Sundowns and Miguel Cardoso.
Mamelodi Sundowns making a few more changes here, introducing a fourth substitute, Maseko. Got a goal off the bench against Chippa United, comes on for Lucas Ribeiro, and then Dennis Onyango making way here for Jody February. He has played a few games this season, coming about 2 months ago against Kaizer Chiefs, TS Galaxy, also in that 4-2 win over Skakuni United.
Yeah, I think this is just for precaution, and Onyango feeling something. 3 in the cup, 3 in the league for February. This is his 7th appearance.
Sales for Maseko. Taken away from the recently introduced sub, Sanele Barnes. Pings that one at Putsaka. Given away to Tempezwane. Just a little too much on that pass. Maseko waited for that one to arrive at his feet, and was well cut out. Basadine, though, has given it straight back to Maseko.
Yeah, not for the first time, just delaying the pass there, Maseko.
Not as if there's too much urgency from a Sundowns perspective. This will be the 4th time now that Sundowns secure a league double over Stellenbosch. They did in Stellenbosch's maiden season, that was 2019-20, and the following campaign, and then last season as well. Taking their unbeaten streak against Stellenbosch in the league to 6. Palace for Barnes. Ball out, so an opportunity now for Stellenbosch to make their final change, was tossed back in by Ninaya. From Reyners. Stellenbosch have kept Sundowns very, very quiet in this second period in terms of allowing them shots on goal. But again, given the context, it's not all too surprising.
Yeah, not at all.
Jabba to Sanele Barnes. Koza beats him easily in the air.
A bit of torture here for Stellies. Sundowns not looking to go forward. Very similar performance last time out against Chippa United. Very patient for the build-up, patient in possession.
February gives a nice pass. Opportunity here for Stellenbosch with De Jong. The best cross, Namkulise. Granke kind of losing out. Clipped in here for De Jong, just over his head. Kut as well to find Putsaka. Moves it on to Barnes. Barnes with the little ball in. Touched behind by Jody February.
Yeah, second time he's played a delicious ball in behind the defense, and it's De Jong almost catching February at the far post.
So the young Carl Jurgens will come on. The entire Stellenbosch midfield 3 that started has been subbed off.
And 2 of the 3 strikers.
Yes, Sellers again with some defensive work from that set piece. Sundowns this season have been very, very good at defending set pieces. 11 of the goals they've conceded have been from open play, just 2 from set pieces in the Betway Premiership this season. Offside. Yes, Inyanya.
Just steering offside, but once again, very disciplined in the line. Nice cohesion for that defensive Sundowns in Kakana and Koza. Kakana will be controlling the line. Normally one defender has that responsibility.
Salez, a lovely ball through here for Ikram Reyners, stays on his feet, and under a lot of pressure from Ismail Toure, fires off a tame shot.
Brilliant defending there from Toure, stayed strong, stayed on his feet, as Reyners just looking for that opening.
Jurgens, good crossfield ball, finds the Sibanku, takes his time to measure the cross and ends up overcooking it. On the other flank though with Unaya. And into the final minute of regulation time. Back to Koza. Jaden Adams gets rid of it. Salez with another lovely ball forward. Ikram Reyners. Well, he has, in a sense, located Timbazwane. Has been pushed way out wide, though. Adams. Kulise. Learned of 4 additional minutes here at the Lucas Moripe Stadium. It's only February goes long. Sundowns suffered to Orlando Pirates. Now they only lost in 11 league games as Stellenbosch look for a consolation here. Laid off and missed inexplicably. Puts it wide of an open goal. Butsaka claiming that there was some kind of interference that forced him to fire wide.
Lost opportunity for consolation goal. Brilliant anticipation here from Mku. Could see he was being outnumbered, laid it into the path.
Yeah, that's just a miss. The contact, or the pressure, if we can call it that, the slide from Jaden Adams came well after the ball had left his foot.
Possibly just his presence putting him off there. Butsaka with the net gaping, couldn't get the consolation. Would have made that scoreline a little bit more respectable.
Yeah. Well, both sides have achieved 3-0 wins against each other previously. To Sundowns get another, it would be the biggest margin of victory in this tie. Timbazwane finds Maseko, taking on Basadine, setting it up here for Mashiko. Still alive for Sundowns. Mudao, Zwane, Adams to Kulise. Just over a minute of injury time remaining here. February Forward for Reyners. Did hold his run. Now Sanes sets himself. Oh, he's forced an excellent save out of Oscarin Masaluke.
And I think that sums up a brilliant performance today. He's been excellent both going forward and defensively, chipped in. He's got a goal to the good. Looking for his second. Had options, Mshishi making the late run there. Tried to catch the goalkeeper off guard. And brilliant save there from Masaluke.
Putsaka. Risky pass, and it's given away here. Maseko cracked that one into Jurgens. Now the whistle should come any second now, and it has. Mamelodi Sundowns